So there's been a lot of news around League of Legends esports over the last week and a half that I have not had the chance to talk about because firsthand obviously takes priority. But now that that's wrapped up, we've got a lot to talk about. This video was originally going to be about the LCK road shows and Arnold's comments about them being like $1 million, conversations around them not being profitable for the LEC. And I'll get to that by the end of the video because there's relevant news that kind of came out of Riot's press conferences. But over the last week, we've had two different things that have been stated directly by Riot in response to community, but also just announcements that they do at the end of international events, which kind of tee up future things. Starting with probably the most important announcement, which is Brazil is getting a second seed at Worlds, which thank God Riot actually did it. Now, they noted, per the conversation with Chris Greeley, that this was not done as a response to the community backlash, to which I would say, sure, I'm going to take Riot at their word on this, because the reason why I can believe that is they said the next part of this, which is they just simply forgot to add it back. Like, it was not hey, we're intentionally like withholding this. Whenever they separated back out the LCS and the CBLOL, they just simply forgot to adjust the international slots. So kudos to the balls that it takes to say that publicly. I appreciate the transparency, to be very clear. I'd rather you say that than us just like lean into the ambiguity and not know anything. At the same time, you have to call out. It's like, how in the world did you forget about this? Isn't it your job to pay attention as the head of LoL esports and like your department as a whole, like everything that's surrounding your international events? How did you not think about that? That makes no sense to me at all. Like that's the first thing that came to all of our minds whenever they were separating them back out. It's like, okay, does everybody go back to what we had before, or does it change? Like, there were questions immediately on that. And it didn't take much to just have an update and say, yeah, no, they should get this. To wait till now is just like wild, and admit that you forgot until now is just wild. But on top of that, the thing that I would say is, while I understand many people are going to be happy about this, I still don't think it's the optimal answer. Purely because, again, they are part of the global revenue pool. Every other region gets 3 teams. Why would Brazil not get 3 as well? That makes no sense to me in any way, shape, or form. They are treated by every other metric the exact same as the other regions, including North America, where we share pretty much the same schedule as well. I don't understand what this distinguishing factor is that you're apparently using to give them one less slot than NA or EU or the LCP, let alone only one slot at MSI. That makes no sense to me. And it's been forever since Riot's done like a fully transparent interview, conversation, whatever you want to call it. I think it was Travis Gafford, notably talking with Chris Greeley, or no, he was talking with John Needham a few years ago. That's the last time that we've had an extended conversation around all this, that you can really like press into things. Since then, it's just been public statements that they've given out, which again, I appreciate the communication here. I don't have to guess at your intentions or anything else by you coming out and saying this. But I can still note within all of this, in the context that you're giving, that it still doesn't make any sense to me in any way, shape, or form. If you're treating everybody like a tier 1 region, treat them all equally. If you can earn your way into 4 slots versus 3, fine. But it shouldn't be you earn your way into 3 over 2, but for only this one region. That makes no, like, there's no logical ideation behind that I can wrap my brain around. The second most important thing addressed this week was the LEC rumors about going online, which started because G2's co-streamer Did came out and said, yeah, they ain't going to be in Berlin anymore as of 2026. Well, of 2027, end of 2026, going into 2027. And Riot felt the need to weigh in on that one pretty quickly because they did see the community backlash, which was, oh my God, this esport is dying. There was a ton of freak out and panic. So Riot came in, stepped in and said, no, we are going to be in the LEC studio through 2027 at least. So they're kind of kicking the can down the road, obviously still open to any possibility after that. But they are currently having conversations around whether it'd be smart to also mix in online games with the current studio days. And by doing that, you could potentially open it up to a double round robin best of 3 instead of single round robin best of 3, which I think would be a great change. And I said this whenever the rumors came out in the first place, before Riot even dispelled them. I personally don't have a problem with getting rid of some of the studio days if that means that you get on the road and have more road trips, because those are the most critical part of this entire ecosystem right now. I'll get into the cost side of that in a minute with one of the later announcements, but from a culture point of view, that's what we fans want, because trying to get tickets for these studio days in the LEC has been a point of contention that I've seen across Twitter. In North America, none of us are going out to Los Angeles, and the studio is pretty much empty, which is why they put us in the closet nowadays. But that closet still costs $40,000 a day. But the whole point is that you're supposed to get out with more people. And if having online games is the method to get that, I'm personally fine with it. I don't think the production difference between online games and in studio games is really all that much, especially when you do have days that there is no studio crowd. As long as your broadcast talent in the between game segments is still there, which it would be, they wouldn't give up on that because it would break the illusion a little bit too much. That's fine to me. Like, I think that's perfectly okay. And then you get more opportunities to be in front of 3 to 10,000 seat stadiums. That's fantastic. Do that more often. So these rumors, I was more happy. Okay, I don't want to say happy because there's going to be people that are like, oh, you're happy about the death of the esport. No, I think it's a necessary step that we need to take in this industry, which is being more accepting of online games, so long as that comes with the ability to be on the road more and engage with more fans in more places. If it's just online games for the sake of online games, then yes, I do have a very explicit problem with that. Then you're just cost cutting for literally nothing, and you're not opening up any opportunities for revenue growth, and it's a problem. Speaking of opportunities to be with the fans, there's one other thing around Worlds specifically that Riot talked about, which is the Barclays Center is going to be hosting Worlds Finals in Brooklyn, New York. We've kind of known about this one for a bit, whether it was MSG or Barclays Center. Now they've officially confirmed it. Those tickets are going to sell out quick. As I mentioned in the shorts, I will keep you all posted. Tickets should be available in July, but for now, that's really all we know. The other big change, though, is if you go back to that Brazilian announcement, the addition of one other team means that play-ins will feature a group stage with 4 teams that they have yet to announce. So I'm assuming it will be the LEC 3 seed, LCS 3 seed, LCP 3 seed, and CB LOL 2 seed. The Fries group, whatever you want to call it, get it sponsored by McDonald's. Going to be fantastic if they do that. I don't care if Europe wins MSI. Put those 4 teams in that group stage and let us duke it out. It would be a fun time. But that is going to be played from LA in the Riot Games studio instead of in Texas at Dallas, or well, Allen, Texas. It's a suburb of Dallas, which means you're going from a 7,000 capacity to about 300. And while I'm happy that Worlds is not just going to be in Texas for the entire time leading up to finals, that capacity drop is a little bit worrying, to say the least. Nothing much else to say on that other than just giving you that piece of information. But the reason why I tee that up is because the next topic is the most important one to me. And that is, Riot talked about their openness to third-party events. And that's where this relates in with the conversation that I was originally going to have around road trips and their profitability that we've touched on a bit. But the truth is, the cost standard that Riot has been trying to enforce on teams and leagues for road trips is quite frankly insane. Gen G's Arnold came out and said that they're requiring LCK teams to have about $1 million worth of budget for each one of these road trips. For the LEC, we don't quite know what that number is. For North America, I've had conversations publicly about this, and many people have said, yeah, Riot just demands too many things that the cost is so high. When the reality is, for us fans, we'll take a projector onto a white screen or like white sheet in a high school gymnasium, and as long as we can go nuts, we're happy with it. Riot has this idea of this standard in their mind that they're setting that is hurting everybody and preventing road trips from being what we need them to be, which is, especially for Europe and North America, the ability to go to like these 2,000 to 3,000 seat theaters and put on a fantastic show there, sell them out, sell merch, sell merchandise beyond the teams themselves, Riot specific things. That's what we need. And if you can do that, that can travel once a month at minimum. And that opens you up to more because, again, if you're playing in this LCS closet that's $40,000 a day, just go online. So long as we have somewhere that we're going each month, people will be happy about that. And I promise you, we're not going to notice that big of a difference. We're really not, because the lack of crowd noise, like, what do you get from playing in that studio? Oh, an elevated production quality, a little bit outside of games? Really not all that much, if I'm being completely honest. Now, how this relates to the Riot announcements and conversations from this past week is that Chris Greeley mentioned that they're surprised by the amount of interest and hype for these third-party events, and that they're open to doing more of them. but yet you're the ones that killed them in the first place. Riot, Blizzard, Activision, you all were the ones that said, hey, these third-party events don't meet the standards of what we want to do. We want to elevate the space, so we're going to do that. And as proxy of that, they weren't profitable. You cut out like what esports was at its core was these events were just trying to be break even if they were minimalist standards. You cut them out. You have brought everything in first party, held everything yourself, and when you realized that you couldn't do it, you reduced the amount of roadshows that were going on because you weren't marketing the game properly. Now you say that you're open to it, but at the same time, like, what market are you opening it to? Okay, in terms of the third-party events, the only ones that we have other than Kespa Cup, which is a Korean government-sponsored thing, you have Esports World Cup and Esports Nations Cup. Two events that are specifically sponsored by the Saudi government themselves. And when you look at other event organizers like DreamHack and Beyond, guess what? They're also owned by Savvy Group, which is also Saudi owned. So like, you effectively, by stripping away the third-party events in the first place, killed off the third-party market, so there's nothing available there. And your alternative route is to let teams host more events, but you're still holding such high quality standards that you're not able to like allow them to have a product that they can put out there that's profitable for them. So what is it? Like, what do you want here? Be consistent with what you're trying to get. Are you trying to grow fandom, or are you trying to put on these massive events that have such high quality standard that it's marketing for you, but you're sitting here saying that it's not marketing, that you want the C-sport to be break even? Pick a lane, pick one, stick with it, and go with it. And then I can understand the logic. This goes back to the Brazilian world slot stuff. You're not communicating what you want out of all of this, what the expectations are, because your words and your actions don't line up here. We, the fans, want more events. We don't give as much of a shit about the production standards and the quality. We just want to be in an arena with the crowd, yelling and screaming, drinking a beer and grabbing a hot dog if you're of age. Beyond that, we just want to have a good time with other league players. And the fact that it's stuck in LA, stuck in Berlin, starting to have some more road shows, but you just have these cost standards that are preventing even more events from happening, that's on you. So figure out which one you want and go with it and be consistent. And we can have the conversation, criticize or compliment from there. That's all. I think that covers all the headlines. Honestly, like, there was so much that kind of happened over the last week and a half. Like, the tournament felt very compressed, and then the news headlines just kept popping up alongside that. It's going to feel good to have a bit of a breather here for a minute. But there was one other thing that did pop up this past weekend that I'm saving for its own video on Friday, and that was Mr. Beast coming back into the conversation. There's also something that Riot announced today specifically that I'm saving alongside of that, which I think pairs up pretty well and could actually drive some interest for NA League, European League, and beyond if it's done right, and could attract somebody like Mr. Beast to want to invest into the league sooner. Whether you want him here or not, we'll save it for that conversation on Friday. But it's just a topic that I want on its own video. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you on Friday for another LoL Esports conversation where we can just sit back, relax, and argue with ourselves, and it doesn't have anything to do with how anybody won, choked, or beyond. I don't know. These are the fun conversations, the industry stuff that I personally like, even if it's not gameplay related. But don't worry, the LEC also starts the day after as well, so you'll still get that. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.